On a fantasy football coffee break, week 1 overreactions, week 2 preview coming your way. Intro song. I'm going to finish 2-1 this week. I'm going to lose in the league I care about the most. I'm getting Brandon Aubrey'd. I really actually wanted to try a 71-yarder. I don't think I'd been mad if I lost because of a 71-yarder, but 2-1 in the other leagues, big wins this week. Some things I was right about that helped me win. Cooper Kupp being the guy on the Rams. Obviously, Nakua's injury played a part in that, but that's been good. The Bears defense called that shot. Ching. Other things I was right about were Rashee Rice being Mahomes' top target. I think he's going to be great this year. He's on all 3 teams of mine that I'm playing, that I got right as well. The Bengals, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase being busts off the start. They always start slow. I don't know why, but they always start slow. So where does that leave you, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase owner? Not in a great spot because over the past 5 years, I think they're the worst team in the first 4 weeks, and yet they still made a Super Bowl. They still made an AFC title game. They just start slow. That being said, that's why I didn't draft Joe Burrow. I talked about the importance of the first 4 weeks of the season with your playoff odds. He is not someone I typically like drafting, and this is why.
Nailed it.
Zach Moss. I thought he was a value. One of the things you got to look at, guys, especially in high passing offenses, who's the guy who pass blocks well? If the running back pass blocks well, he will be on the field. He will have a big role, especially in passing downs, which in PPR is golden. Some other wins this week for me, calling the shot. Marvin Harrison Jr. starting slow. Didn't think it'd be that slow. And yes, Kyler missed him.
You missed! How could you miss? He was 3 feet in front of you!
But that will change over time. Dude, Chris Godwin out of the slot. Me and Sal talked about that. Big win for you guys who drafted Chris Godwin. I never quite was in the right spot to draft him. A.J. Brown being a top 3 guy this season. This is before Monday night's finished. Coming in week 1, nice little wide receiver 6. I had a nice little call for me. And we already talked about defenses, but the Seahawks defense, man, I should just do a show about defenses. I got them all right.
Defense! Defense!
Well, that's what I got right. Now let's overreact to week 1. Here's 7 overreactions. Number 1, Saquon will be the running back 1 for the season.
That was an overreaction.
This may be an overreaction, but I don't know about this one anymore because CMC is out. He did finish as running back 1 for week 1. Now, the doubts are still there. You still have the tush push. You still don't have a quarterback who typically dumps it off to the running back outside of design plays, but he was 1 of 1 this week with a 33.2 point effort. Mix in Devon Achane, J.K. Dobbins, Alvin Kamara all had great efforts, but he was 5 points above everybody else, a 3-touchdown effort in a very sloppy game in Brazil. An overreaction. Derrick Henry is done. Now, this one I think is actually an overreaction because there's no way that King Henry is done. It seems like when the Ravens play the Chiefs, it brings the worst out of Lamar and the worst out of Harbaugh, and they just want to win so bad they get hyper-focused. They don't stick to the game plan. What I was reading is, the game script wasn't right, and they, were trying to play catch-up, but like they were never down more than 10. So it was a bit ridiculous to really think that, because I'm down 7, I got to stop handing the ball off, especially with Lamar getting so many carries. So I fully expect and he went out today and said, well, we didn't take him to get 30 carries. Well, no one was asking you to get 30. We were asking for like 15 to 20, just not 10. Be a little panic, but we'll see. That first game, like I said, we'll see. Overreaction 3. Zeke is not washed. He had a great first game. I'm still holding on to Rico Dowdle for the continuation of the season. The last 2 years, Zeke has looked slow. And so I assume as the season goes on, the age will start to show. But he's one of those, like Zach Moss, great in pass protection. I mean, he is going to be on the field. So he will have a role. I don't know if it's going to be as big as this one. Overreaction number 4. All the Panthers are dead. I have won as the Panthers like 14 times on Retro Bowl. I don't really see how hard this can be to coach them. But Bryce Young looked horrible. The value looks horrible now for players that I liked because I really like Deontay Johnson. I liked Chuba Hubbard.
No!
I thought there was value in this offense. Deontay Johnson got targets, but Bryce Young had a horrible matchup against the Saints. The Saints have a great defense. We'll see if they rebound this week. But it is not looking good for the Panthers. The next 2 weeks, they play the Chargers and the Raiders. decent defenses, as we've seen. The Bengals after that, the Bears after that. The Bengals not a great defense, but the Bears a great defense. So I mean, it's going to be some tough sledding here the first 5 weeks, which is a little rough. They really need Jonathan Brooks back desperately.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Overreaction number 5. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a bust. Obviously, like we said before, guys, rookie receivers, it takes a minute. Justin Jefferson's first game, he had like 2 catches, 13 yards, if I remember correctly. Overreaction. Blow the roll on it. But you did draft him at his peak. That's the part of the problem with the Marvin Harrison experience. You drafted him as a top 10 guy, and when he gets 1 catch for 4 yards on 4 targets, I think it was, that's not great. That's not great at all. That's bad. It's bad. Is this bad?
I don't know what we're yelling about.
Overreaction. Number 6. Receiver you want for the Miami Dolphins is Devon Achane.
What?
He had a fantastic game for fantasy. He did not have a really good real life game. He only rushed 10 carries, 24 yards. Now, he did get the touchdown, which kind of saved that. But he had the second most catches on the team, 7 for 76. I mean, he was the 3rd best receiver on the team. He certainly didn't, Tyreek had that one big play and Waddle had 5 for 100. So it's not like those other guys were scrubs, but 7 for 76 from the running back slot, an easy 14 points. That's the type of talent we're looking at with Achane. That's why he was drafted so high. It's like a steal right now if you got him.
I'll be taking that.
Overreaction number 7, and this one's actually not an overreaction. Deshaun Watson is done. The Browns are done. He's not a good quarterback anymore. He's done. It's over. They tried. Ironically, they got rid of Baker Mayfield, who's balling out, and then they traded all these assets in order to get him, and then the Texans use all the assets to now go win their division, da-da-da-da-da. It's a shame. And you made the bed, now you got to sleep in it. Whatever the metaphor is. He's done.
You are one pathetic loser. No offense.
The pass catchers are also done while he's there. It's just bad. Don't understand the contract. Didn't understand the trade when they made it. So be it. That are 7 overreactions to week 1. And now onward to week 2. So let's start off with waiver wires. Here's 6 waiver wire ads. We're going to do it in tiers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, which kind of put it in, 8-team, 10-team, 12-team leagues, or if you're like in the first few of the waiver wire, second few of the waiver wire, third few of the waiver wire. But 8-team league, here's what I'm looking at. J.K. Dobbins, Isaiah Likely. Boom, boom. 1, 2. Loving those. If you need the running back, go for Dobbins. And if you're desperate in the tight end spot, as tight end's really disappointed this week outside of Isaiah Likely, then that's the way I would go for that. Tier 2, and give me Greg Dortch. Dortch had 8 targets. He was targeted more than Marvin Harrison's 3, which is insanity. He's going to be in a good offense. It's going to be good negative game script. They're going to be throwing. He's got a dynamic quarterback. What's not to love? Not a ton of you have the big dog in front of him, but a nice wide receiver, 3 flex consideration type guy, especially as Marvin Harrison Jr. is getting up to speed for the NFL. It's a big jump NFL to college. Greg Dortch is a nice ad. Tank Bigsby, 10-team league or a tier 2. This is not the same as Kyron Williams last year, but remember when Kyron Williams and Cam Akers split carries the first week?
Oh, I remember.
That's what happened here, and especially with the Jaguars with Etienne, he had a really costly fumble. They both had 12 carries. Bigsby got 73 yards, 6.1 per carry. Etienne got 44 yards, 3.7 yards per carry. So clearly more explosive. Now, Etienne ran all the passing routes, and he got both catches. So PPR, and he fell in the end zone. It helped a lot, but he had a fumble, a costly fumble. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking is they may just want to make a change. As Michael Jackson once said, got to make a change. Going to feel real good. Shimon. Tank Bigsby is one I'm looking to pick up in week 2, along with, in tier 3, 2 names, Alexander Madison and Demarcus Robinson.
Wow.
And they have placed Puka Nacua on IR, meaning that number 2 spot for the Rams, which honestly, now he's on IR, I might bump him up. I put this list together before that news broke. He might be in a 10-team league. He might be the number 1 pickup for me. If you need a receiver, like he was great last year. Nakua's injuries seem to be nagging. He's going to be because I'm going to be bottom of waiver wire for most places. he's going to be one that I'm targeting in almost every league. And the other one here, Alexander Madison. Say what you want. Inefficient last year, yes, but he did more with the touches. They're going to roll with a hot hand and a run-heavy offense. Give me Alexander Madison as that tier 3 deeper league 12-team type. Quarterback waivers, if you need them. Obviously, if you're in a smaller league, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, they looked all right. If you're in a deeper league, or if you need it, you had Jordan Love like I did, and all the quarterbacks you liked got taken. Justin Fields, if he's available. Daniel Jones, if you're feeling real spicy, because he's playing the Commanders who just got torched. No, he was horrible, but he's got some running. Like I said, if you're feeling real spicy, if you're desperate, at least he's playing a bad defense. Give it a shot. Defensive streamers, here's where I got it right this last week on my 5 bets, 5 busts. Defensive streamers this week. The Chargers, they looked really good against the Raiders, got 15 points, and then they get to play Carolina this week. So that'll be a big one for them. Should be a nice win. Number 2, the Commanders playing the Giants. Once again, if you need a streamer, if you're that desperate that you need a streamer, look for guys against bad offenses. And Lord knows the Giants are a bad offense. Danny Dimes has more pick sixes than he does touchdown passes since he signed the big contract.
That's so dumb, it makes me mad.
That tells you something. All right, so we continue our week 2 countdown. We've done 7 overreactions, 6 waivers. Let's continue counting down 5 answers. Here's 5 answers to questions that we asked last week. Dallas is right where they left off, if not better. Their defense is strong. Brandon Aubrey killed me this week. Should have just drafted him in the first round. The offense really only needed to play the first half. They kind of just lollygagged around. In the second half, that's fine. Deshaun Watson is done. As I kind of said previously, he is done. That's an answer to our question, one of our questions about the Browns. Devon Achane was worth the pick. We're talking about risks. Not really. Kamara was ranked way too low in draft season, especially in PPR league. I regret going away from him a little bit due to age and with some younger backs at times, but man, great start to the season. It's going to be him and only him. And speaking of him and only him, it was the Bijan show in Atlanta. Man, Atlanta was bad. Kirk Cousins was bad. And yet, Bijan was good and showed off what he could do. Against a good defense, 16.1 points. Comes in at running back 17, but he had the most of some of these guys. He definitely had the most sustainable of those numbers. High volume in the run game, in the pass game. It's the Bijan show. There's 5 answers to questions.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Just now 4 questions we have on our countdown. How will Derrick Henry be used in week 2? Week 1 was a bit of a disaster for Derrick Henry owners. Started off strong. Lord started off strong. Then it ended really weak. He got 6 or 7 carries in the first drive. And then from there on out, it was nothing. Xavier Worthy, can he repeat that performance out of week 1? High touchdown, the big play guy. Can he continue at week 1 and repeat that performance? Be a guy that Pat Mahomes can trust. Question 3, will Bryce Young, and will he just show some signs of life? You hate to see a guy that young just be broken, but he went to a dysfunctional franchise. He is not playing well, and they didn't give him any help the first year. And of course, the guy that got drafted after him ended up being the guy in CJ Stroud. Finally, which dysfunctional offense can turn it around in week 2? You had a lot of them. You had Atlanta, Chicago, Carolina, Cincinnati, the Giants, Cleveland. It's a lot of bad football being played out there with some talented players. And it's not like you have good matchups across the board either. The Bengals play the Chiefs. The Falcons might have the best chance. They play the Eagles, but I don't know if Kirk Cousins I don't know if Kirk Cousins can drive the ball. He sure left a lot short on Sunday. The Browns play the Jaguars, who slowed down the Dolphins. Chargers and Panthers, I don't think that's going anywhere. The Bears play the Texans, a defense that maybe they can get some points on. Caleb Williams did not look good in week 1 at all. All right, 3 injuries that have us worried. Nakua's on the IR. Jordan Love out 2 to 4 weeks, but not on the IR, so that's nice. And then a couple tight ends. Jake Ferguson probably week to week. David Njoku week to week. Not good. True 2. So that's 3 injuries we're following. 2 trade targets. I know it's early in the season. Here, guys, I'm looking at number 1, Amari Cooper. They have to get rid of Watson at some point. He's just hurting the team. There's no way they don't go to Jameis eventually. The trade target I have, is DK Metcalf. Bad game to start, 5.9 points. And then next week, he's going to play the Patriots and he'll probably be shadowed. So after next week, he might be someone to target in a trade. That team's losing, etc., or they're just ready to move on from him. Same thing with Amari Cooper. If they're ready to move on, which I think everyone's ready to move on from Deshaun, then look to them as people of value that you can pick up in your leagues. And then one to trade away, a player who way overperformed in week 1. See if you can get something while you can. That person is Jameson Williams. He had 5 for 121 and a touchdown. He just completely freeze out the sun god and Laporta for the rest of the season. He had one great game. See if you can capitalize on that. The potential's there. Everyone sees the potential. Typically, Jared Goff is not a deep throwing guy. That game went fast. They were even or ahead, so it was good game script for him. You know, if they were way behind, people would drop back deep, trying to avoid the deep ball. He's one I would try to trade away if I can, depending on the value, of course. Remember, guys, this is week 1. Don't panic. It's too early to panic. Heck, Sam Darnold's the top-rated quarterback in the league right now. That shows you how early and how small of a sample size it is. So don't go trading away. Trade St. Brown because he had a bad game. He had a bad game. That happens. You drop Kyler Murray or someone like that who had an average, below average game fantasy-wise over the course of the season. It's going to even out. Slow and steady wins the race. Hope you enjoyed your coffee break.